Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel like you just want to get things done, but you feel frozen? You feel like there's so many things to do, you don't know where to start, everything is just too much? This is the video for you. The first thing I would recommend doing when you feel overwhelmed is to ask yourself why. What is causing this feeling? Where is this feeling coming from? What was this feeling triggered by? When you feel overwhelmed, that is a feeling, and a feeling usually comes from a trigger. Ask yourself, what happened today? What did I see? What did I hear? How did I wake up? Did I see something that triggered me to feel overwhelmed? So instead of immediately wanting to change it, go there first to see what is the root cause. Really take a moment to reflect without any judgment. The second thing to ask yourself is, are you trying to outrun yourself? Oftentimes when we feel overwhelmed, it's because we have the belief that there is not enough time and too many things to do. It's like we're trying to cram a million things into just a short amount of time, and that's when the overwhelm can happen. But the problem is not the time, it's the perception of the time you think you have. Maybe that is one of the reasons why you feel overwhelmed. And so often when we can feel overwhelmed is because we have a huge to-do list. It's like that there's so many things that need to get done within a very short amount of time. So one thing that I love to do is I love to look at my to-do list and I circle the 3 to 5 most important things that need to get done in the day, no matter what. And then I write a second list. The second list that I write is a to-love list. This way, I take the things that need to get done and I add them to the to-love list. What are some things that I can add to my to-love list as well that will make my day feel less overwhelmed, and it's gonna make me feel like I can get all of these things done in the day. The next thing, and that one has truly changed my life, is to accept that you feel overwhelmed and not judge yourself. We are our hardest critics. We can be so hard on ourselves. And I know it myself, when I feel overwhelmed, my brain goes into all of those different things. And I say to myself that I shouldn't be overwhelmed, that I should be further, and I should be clear on what I need to do. And instead of doing that, allow yourself to take a step back and just say to yourself, I feel overwhelmed. And that's it. Without any judgment, without anything attached to it, without wanting to change it immediately, and just sitting with the uncomfortable. When you allow yourself to sit with the feeling of overwhelm, you might notice that the feeling of overwhelm might slowly disappear. Many times while we feel overwhelmed is because we don't sit with the feeling overwhelmed. We do more and more things to escape the overwhelm, and we can't process this feeling. But just how every feeling we are experiencing, we also need to allow ourselves to experience the overwhelm, to be with it and to notice it. When you become aware of your overwhelm, it's gonna be so much easier for you to shift that because you now are sitting in it without doing more things to escape that feeling. So the next thing, once you now have accepted, okay, I am in overwhelm, no judgment, this is what I'm feeling, and you still feel like the feeling is there, make a list of all of the things you can control and all of the things you can't control. Why it is important is because overwhelm is created in our mind. Oftentimes that overwhelm comes from a place of wanting to control everything. And when you realize that there is a lot of things you can control, but also realize that there are a lot of things you cannot control, you will notice your overwhelm slowly fade away. So the biggest thing that really has changed to shift the overwhelm for me is to make a list. What is it that I can control? I can control my actions, what I say, how many hours I sleep, my workouts, blah, 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 blah. This whole list. What I cannot control. I cannot control what another person is going to say. I cannot control what my partner is going to do. I cannot control any of these things. And then I look at the list and I focus on what I can control. I immediately make that shift into, okay, so I can control my actions, my feelings, my emotions, this. This way, I am giving away what I cannot control, And that gives me a huge relief, because why worry about something that will never be in your control? I think the biggest piece is also when it comes to outside circumstances. So many people are trying to control anything that is outside of them. If you try to do that forever, it's never going to happen. It's the same thing with manifestation, right? You only manifest what's already within you. You manifest what you believe, what you think is possible. You're a mirror to your reality. You don't manifest by changing things outside of yourself. You manifest by changing things inside of yourself. So the same thing applies to overwhelm and control. So ask yourself, what's not in my control and what is in my control, and only focus on what you can control. My next point is stress, when you feel overwhelmed, is making things worse. Let's think about stress. When your body is stressed, your body will try everything in its power to get you back to balance. Now, there is such thing as good and bad stress. The good stress is, when things happen in a day, when you're on a highway and someone drives in front of you and you hit the brake. This is good stress, because in that moment, if you wouldn't have this stress response, you probably would crash into that car. But you realize that you hit the brake and nothing happened. But the problem is when stress becomes a normal part of our life. And when that happens, your body's normal bodily functions will shut down. Your body's gonna be in survival mode most of the time. Your brain will not be able to function properly. So for example, if you're a creative person and you're trying to create something and you're in stress, creativity is not going to happen. Nothing is gonna come to you. Nothing is gonna flow to you, because you're highly stressed. Your brain is right now just thinking of how can it survive. Shifting that stress and telling your body that you're safe is extremely important. One of my favorite exercises is box breathing. When we are stressed as human beings, our breath becomes shallow and we tend to breathe mainly with our chest. And so when that happens and we don't get enough oxygen into our body, our nervous system can go imbalanced and your body is going to know that you're in stress mode. So in order for your body to calm down and in order for your nervous system to calm down, you need to tell your body that you're safe. You can do that by increasing the oxygen flow into your body, and you can do that by breathing. So one of my favorite exercises is box breathing. Box breathing looks like this, where you breathe in, counting to 4, you hold, counting to 4, you breathe out, counting to 4, and you hold, counting to 4. Again, breathing in, counting to 4, holding, breathing out, counting to 4. And you do this over and over again until you feel like your body's fully relaxed. You can count to 5. There's so many YouTube videos on that. But this is an easy way to fit into your day. If you're in the middle of the day, if you're just starting your day, if you're in between work meetings and you feel like you're stressed, whatever that might be, it can really help calm your nervous system and decrease the stress. And I know sometimes when we are so caught into our day and there are just so many things to do, we don't think of that. There is so much research that shows that breathing consciously makes such a big difference to your well-being, how your brain works, how you react, how your body reacts. So it can really make a huge difference. Also, going on a walk in the middle of the day, stepping outside for 10 minutes, feeling the sun on your skin, whatever that might look like, find ways to really bring those tools into your day. Even if it's just 1 to 5 minutes a day, it can already make a big difference. Now, another thing that really helps me as well when I feel overwhelmed is I like to zoom out of my life and imagine I'm an eagle flying over my life, flying over my situation and looking at everything. And I look at what is it right now that's going on in my life? What is it right now that I would like to change? But I also look at the perspective, because sometimes when we're in a situation, things can feel so much worse than they actually are. And we are so in that situation that everything else outside of us, we are not letting in. And so when we're zoning out, when we're this eagle and we're looking at our life, sometimes when we take ourselves out of the situation and we look at everything, we're like, actually, that thing I'm going through right now is not that bad. It's just because I'm right in it. It feels heavy. It feels like a lot. But when I zoom out, things look so different. So allow yourself as well to take the eagle eye perspective. Look at your life and see, this feels right or this doesn't right now. This is actually important. This is actually not important. Notice how your perception of your life changes. The other thing that can happen when you feel overwhelmed is it creates a sense that you feel unsafe. Unsafety is very common actually in women today. You know, not having enough money, losing everything, feeling stressed at work, feeling unsafe with your partner or with your boss or with your friends, with your family, and that unsafety can take over. So notice when you're overwhelmed can also come from that feeling that you're not feeling safe because maybe of certain things that are going on. So repeating to yourself, placing your hand on your heart and your other hand on your belly and repeating to yourself that you're safe over and over and over and over again can make a big difference too, because sometimes that's actually all that we need to hear. That's actually all that we need to remind ourselves of. And then my last point, again, for my ladies, is allowing yourself to surrender to the feminine, allowing yourself to surrender to the inner wisdom that is within you. As women, we are so wise. We know so many more things on a much deeper level, but why we don't think we know these things, or why they're not here in front of us, shown to us, it's because we have suppressed all of this knowledge over years of conditioning and the things that we think we can do and we can't do, and we're putting it all into boxes, and we're ignoring what our body is telling us. In those moments when you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what do I need to hear? What do I need to surrender to? What is coming up for me over and over again? Maybe where are my learnings? Where is the message I'm meant to hear right now? Maybe there's something I haven't learned yet, and why this feeling of overwhelm keeps showing up to me. Really allowing yourself to surrender and allowing yourself to slow down and take a step back, even when probably everything outside of you feels like it's crumbling down and it just feels so much. The best thing that you can do is take a step back. And what's the feminine? What's the feminine? The feminine is all about receiving. She's not about doing more and trying to do more. She's all about slowing down, going inwards, allowing these messages to come to her, allowing whatever wants to come to her, and trusting that whatever she needs to receive will come her way. And that takes time and practice, and I'm aware that, you know, we as women, we have so many things going on. We're so busy. We have a lot of things to do, right? When you allow yourself to surrender to the feminine and you allow yourself to receive those messages, that's exactly what's going to help you organize and structure all of the things in your life. Why sometimes things can feel like it's a lot is because we are constantly in our masculine. We're constantly doing, we're constantly performing, we're constantly checking things of our to-do list, and we're disconnected from our bodies. And the more disconnected you are from your body, the more those feelings that we're not allowing ourselves to feel and surrender to, they will become more intense, and they will be there with us. They will control us. They will take over us. And it feels like the feminine is constantly knocking at the door, constantly wanting you to hear, but you're not letting it because your masculine is taking over. You're so focused on everything that's going on in your mind and doing more and performing more and delivering more, and you're disconnecting from that feminine side of you that has all of the answers within herself. So that would be my last thing that I would recommend you surrendering to your feminine, because you have that within you. You know exactly what wants to come up for you, and once you do, the overwhelm can disappear very slowly. And I'm not saying you will never feel overwhelmed, but by practicing those things over and over again, the overwhelm might come up, but you're able to let it go a lot quicker. Thank you so much for watching this. I really, really hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, give me a follow, and I will see you in the next one.